Hi, boys and girls. I'm Miss Miles. And this week, we're going to be talking about data collection and statistics. All that means is we're going to ask a question, we're going to collect all the information we need to answer the question, and then we're going to talk about looking at the information and see how it's helping us answer the question. Now, at the bottom of a lesson plan today, you're going to find this graph. And you're going to find this. And what you're going to ask your parents, please ask your parents to help you cut it out. You got to stay on the solid black lines. And then after you cut it out, get your glue and put your glue on the tabs and put your die together. Because when you put your die together, it's going to look like this. So once you have your die and you have your graph, now we're ready for some data collection and some statistics. Our question today is, if I take this die and I roll it 10 times, what number do you think is going to come up the most? What number we're going to see that comes up the most? So let's try this out. I'm going to start to roll the die. All right. The first number that came out looks like this. Let's count the dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we look here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we roll the die, and the number 5 came out. So I'm going to color in the first box for the number 5. Okay, we'll roll it again. This time, the number 2 came up. You see the two dots? Let's count them. 1, 2. So we have to find 2. Here is 1, 1, 2. Here's 2. So I'm going to color in 1 square because we roll the die and the number 2 came up 1 time. See the 1 right there? 2 came up 1 time and 5 came up 1 time. I'll roll it again. Oh, look, boys and girls, I rolled the die. Yeah, what number is that? 1. Great. The number 1 came up. So I'm going to color in 1 box for the number 1. Okay, roll it again because I got to roll it 10 times. Oh, this time, boys and girls, the number 4 came up. I got to get the die. The number 4 came up. So I'm gonna 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 came up 1 time. Okay, I'm gonna roll the die again. Look, the number 4 came up again. So number 4 came up 2 times. So I'm gonna color in 2 squares. 1, 2. All righty, I'm gonna roll it again because I have to roll it 10 times. This time the number 1 came up again. Let me keep rolling. Number 3 came up, boys and girls. Number 3. So I got to find 3. 1, 2, 3. Color that square in. Here it is. Color 1 box for the 3. Make sure I'm staying with 1 because 1. So I go because it only came up 1 time. All righty. So roll it again. This time, boys and girls, the number 5 came up again. Now let me check and see how many times I rolled the die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What? I have to keep rolling. This time, boys and girls, the number 4 came up. So I have to find the number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there is 4 again. Let me use the same color. Now, the last roll, and I'm going to shape this die up really good, and I'm going to roll it again. And this time, boys and girls, the number 5 came up. Let's count the dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the number 5 came up. So now I've rolled the die 10 times. I have collected all of my data. And now I'm going to see if I can answer the question. The question was, if I roll this die 10 times, what number or numbers will come up the most? Well, let's look at my graph. 1 came up 2 times. 2 came up 1 time. 3 came up 1 time. 4 came up 1, 2, 3 times. 5 came up 1, 2, 3 times. And 6 didn't come up at all. So, what numbers came up the most? Well, the graph goes up the highest because it tells me 4 came up 3 times and 5 came up 3 times. So those numbers came up the most. Now, when I look at it and I say, do I have any numbers that came up the same number of times? Well, I look at 2 came up 1 time, 3 came up 1 time. So 2 and 3 came up the same number of times. Now I have one more question I want to answer. That question is, what number came up the least? Let me look. Got 2 here, 1, 1, 3 times here, 3 times here. 6 didn't come up at all. 0 times. So 6, because it didn't come up at all, came up the least number of times. Well, boys and girls, I hope that when you fill out your graph and you roll your die, you will have fun. And then you will find out what number you're going to roll the most, what numbers came up the same number of times, and what number came up the least number of times. Have fun and be safe. Bye-bye.